Look at the people's doors. Oh my God.
Right now on 12, flash floods turned dangerous and downright deadly for some parts of the region over the weekend. Ongoing efforts tonight to restore order to the Hudson Valley.
She was in the bottom of a ravine. It was very dangerous for the first responders that had to get her out of there.
Plus, rescue efforts continue tonight as investigators share new details in the death of a 43-year-old woman overtaken and drowned in those floodwaters.
And what comes next for people in one part of Orange County still without running water? Those developments ahead.
And thanks for watching 12 Tonight. I'm Katie McCall. Emergency orders remain in effect tonight for parts of Westchester, Orange, Rockland, and Dutchess counties, after parts of those areas were nearly swept away over the weekend in those rapid floodwaters that we've been telling you about. State and federal officials were in town today surveying some of that damage. Let's get right to the very latest from those officials. One person was killed by floodwaters in Orange County. Municipal water services have been suspended in Highland Falls. That's due to a water main break in that village. Officials are estimating damages were totaling in the tens of millions of dollars in Highland Falls area alone. Meantime, Westchester County, thousands of commuters are out of a ride for right now. Storm damages have suspended service on the Hudson Metro North Line, closing 8 stations from Croton to Poughkeepsie. And tonight we have Team 12 coverage tracking all of those stories and more. But first, to get a bird's eye view of the damage, we have our Nadia Galindo. She's up in Chopper 12. Nadia?
There are currently 8 stations along the Hudson Line without service right now. We flew over just about all of them, but right now I want to give you a view of what we're seeing right here from Chopper 12. We are over the worst damaged section between Manitou and Garrison Metro North stations. We actually have a view of a crew there right now vacuuming up mud and floodwaters and restoring the integrity of the tracks. It's a lot of work to get done in order to get the Hudson Line fully restored. Severe weather stranded hundreds of people coming up from New York City on the Metro North Hudson Line.
It's annoying.
This group of UK natives working at a summer camp in Poughkeepsie spent the weekend in Manhattan. Their train back was canceled Sunday night, so they ended up sleeping on the floor of Grand Central.
Started work 2 hours ago, and everyone's raging at us for being late.
No one has ever wanted to come to Poughkeepsie as much as we want to be in Poughkeepsie right now.
Others going north to south also had their plans ruined. Rich Jaworski, who lives in Newburgh, missed his flight at LaGuardia.
The weather canceled all the trains, and I should have been on the train this morning, but that got canceled as well, so I got an afternoon flight.
Severe weather caused the Hudson Line to be suspended between Croton Harmon and Poughkeepsie Sunday night. The torrential rain flooding the tracks, which are now littered with downed trees, debris, and boulders in some parts, says Metro North President Catherine Rinaldi.
Really can't predict a storm of this kind of magnitude. Nobody really expected to have this much rain all centered in this area.
No, we can't run the buses into Peekskill. The stops are Portland, Beacon, Poughkeepsie, Holy.
Relief for stranded commuters arrived at about noon on Monday, the first of 20 buses providing limited service between Croton Harmon and Poughkeepsie stations, making stops at Cortland and Beacon along the way.
I normally would take the train directly to Beacon, but I knew to get off at Croton, and I did not expect a bus, so that's very good.
The last time a storm caused this much damage to the Hudson Line was during Ida in 2021. It took crews weeks to fully restore service. Again, 8 stations between Croton Harmon and Poughkeepsie have suspended services as repairs to the tracks continue. There is limited bus service between those stations. We want to give you one more look outside of Chopper 12. You can see the crews going up and down the Hudson Line, surveying the damage as they continue to make repairs and hopefully get the Hudson Line back up and running. We will, of course, bring you the latest as this story develops. From Chopper 12, I'm Nadia Galindo, News 12.
Nadia, thank you. Turning now to Westchester County, where residents in one town there are under emergency orders. Road closures are in effect in Yorktown due to floodwaters that have yet to subside. They're trapping some residents inside their homes. News 12 Jonathan Gordon is at the Lynx at Valley Field in Yorktown with the very latest from there. Jonathan?
The damage all across Yorktown is significant. This is just one example of it. This golf course had its grand opening on Saturday. Now it is under several feet of water. Take a look at some of these drone shots that were released by town police, and it just shows how widespread the destruction is. The swelling waters flooded roads, homes, and businesses. We're talking about a sinkhole behind Town Hall, cars trapped on roads, police still pulling those cars off of those flooded roads, and overwhelmed culverts. And those are very expensive repairs, and they cause a lot of damage. The full scale of all of this is really just too much to even determine right now, according to the town supervisor, Tom Diana, who did declare a state of emergency for the town. He says they are seeing some improvements this evening, but they have a long way still to go.
We're thankful that it's receding about a foot an hour, but it's still leaving its path of devastation.
And we are going to continue taking you throughout different parts of the town to get an update on damages and road closures. We'll have updates for you at 8 and 10 o'clock. In Yorktown, Jonathan Gordon, News 12.
I have an update for you in the Alert Center on a storm-related water main break that was in the town of Highland Falls in Fort Montgomery. Town Supervisor Bob Livesey says crews have fixed the break now. It took all morning and part of the afternoon, and it was just horribly ironic. Amidst all of that storm water, there isn't safe water to drink. Livesey says water in Fort Montgomery comes from one village main damaged in the storm. The supervisor says once water is back on in your house, don't drink it yet. It's still not safe. Boil the water before using it until you hear otherwise from town officials.
And tonight we're learning more about that woman who was swept away and killed in those fast-moving floodwaters. Authorities have confirmed 43-year-old Pamela Nugent drowned after she was overtaken by rainwater. She was with her fiance and their dog at the time of that tragedy, and she died on Mine Dock Road. So far, Nugent is the only known fatality from this weekend's storm activity.
The recovery of the young lady who passed away was in the bottom. When we discovered her remains, she was in the bottom of a ravine. It was very dangerous for the first responders that had to get her out of there. We saw the debris falling on them as they tried to get her back up to Highland where we could get her back to the medical examiner's office.
Some scary moments for rescue crews there, as they mentioned. Multiple roads remain closed tonight in Orange County and into the Highland Falls, Cornwall area. There's currently only one way in or out of Highland Falls. And luckily, the county airport was not impacted by those floods. Take a look inside Westchester County Airport, where flights are taking off and landing on time for the most part today. A few flights delayed, but at last check, no cancellations to report for you. And speaking of which, meteorologist Addison Green joins us now. Addison, it looks like things are drying out. Are we going to expect any more flooding for our area?
Thankfully, no, we should not be seeing any more additional flooding coming our way, Katie. In fact, we're going to be seeing a few dry days coming on in, and I think we can all go ahead and say we definitely do need that. But we do have still some residual flood alerts out there up in effect until 2 o'clock Tuesday. We do have a flood watch up for Dutchess County as well as Ulster County due to the runoff from Sunday storms, and as well as dealing with potentially some of the rivers and creeks running a little bit more on the swollen side. Now, speaking of one river, the Ramapo River out there along the border of Rockland and Orange County does have a flood warning up in effect. That will be up in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, and it's running about 5 feet above its bank. So definitely, if you're going to be near any of those waterways, try and find a different way to get out and about to your destination than trying to drive through some of those flooded roads. We'll go back over the past 36 hours. You can see how we did have that shower and thunderstorm activity moving on in, and it moved on in very slowly. And that's the reason why we had all this widespread flood concerns, because the rain came down and then the storms did not move out of the picture. Instead, we had to deal with the wet weather coming on in hour after hour, ramping on up as we went on in through the afternoon hours. You can see those storms firing on up and then very slowly unleashing inches upon inches of wet weather across the region, so much so that we saw in this swath right there anywhere between about 3 to 9 inches of rain coming on down over the past 24 hours. But looking back over the past 36 hours, quickly, some spots definitely did show those higher accumulations running over 10 inches in some areas, especially out there across portions of Putnam County. We'll be coming back with more news and weather in just a few minutes, along with Thunderbolt.